Hey everybody, welcome back. Baseballin with Coach Remer and Coach Zoe. We got a special guest today. We got two. One you've seen before in one of our previous episodes, Juan Palacios.
Yep.
Greetings.
Nice to be back, guys. So
Yes,
thank you
yes.
for having us.
Yeah, and then we have an even specialer guest.
Yep.
No offense. To my right, he decided to stay here. We just finished a Orioles pre-draft workout in Gambrels. And with us today, we have...
Donovan O'Dowd.
And Donovan, what is your role with the Baltimore Orioles?
I am the area scout covering the Mid-Atlantic, the Northeast, and Canada. And we all kind of travel around the country and cross-check the whole country.
It's a lot of walking, man. Well, thanks
A lot
for
of
thanks for staying. One of the biggest things that we saw today, really felt was the energy. I know you do a lot of these things across, like you said, all those different areas, but there's a certain level of energy that I think a player that you're looking for has to have. So before we begin asking questions, why don't you give us a little feedback about what you saw today, how you felt, and what your future, thoughts are for coming back to this area?
Yeah, the Mid-Atlantic's loaded this year, especially in the state. The high school crop up and down the state and the Mid-Atlantic in general is loaded, not with only position players, with arms as well. We didn't even get to see those guys. But usually if they're a legit position player, they usually go through Juan. So I call him up, and he introduced me to most of these kids a couple years ago. And so just having a connection with Juan and knowing all these kids, it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun today. A lot of talent.
Now, Juan, I mean, look, this is your house, man.
Yep.
First of all, thanks for letting us in.
Yeah.
We didn't have to take off our shoes, which is great, man.
No, this was but I invited you guys because sometimes I know that you guys do the same thing that we do here. The same workouts, we run things, but the guys that we have this year here is just amazing. This 27 class is just off the chart. And I have worked with Donavan maybe 3 or 4 years already. I was telling Donavan that this is maybe the same class that we got in the 23, that we got Moravito, we got Lamarquin, we got that kid from Hanover. We got a lot of hitters that they were huge. These kids were, their body was developed. Their mindset was just to go pro after high school. They were showing their independence. They were showing that they can actually be by themselves after high school. And what we saw today was even a deeper class, right? I think that 23, 25th, and Donovan haven't seen yet the guys that we're working on the 27th. We just saw Judah Cherlin today, that the hands and he's not even developed yet. But when that body gets developed, he goes like 6'2" with the size that we have. Then that 27 class is gonna be really special.
Yeah, I mean, as Coach Zoe and I were talking, throughout this workout today, and I mean, that the defense at the end, the defensive reps, I mean, only one person bobbled the ball. So, what are some of the things you look for that truly separate? I mean, obviously you can't just choose them all and be like, they're all good, let's see what happens. What are some of the things you're looking for? And also, what are some of the things that you might immediately be, hey, I don't know about this guy right now?
Yeah, I mean, when you see him step off the bus, or when you're looking at a roster, you're looking at bodies, and we've seen plenty of those today. There was the average height today was 6'2", 6'3" with shoulders. Every single one of them.
Absolutely.
So that's the first thing you see is body and the projection on the body. There's a couple of kids that were still lean but had shoulders to fill into. So you're looking for projection. Those guys that are kind of maxed out, they are what they are. So that's kind of the initial, just first sight. But then you look for all the tools, the hit, the power, the run, the field, and the arm. You know what I mean? And we kind of got to see a lot of that today. But the separator is the makeup on the kid. Like you said, the energy, the work ethic, the drive, the the growth mindset, the willingness to learn, like all that stuff. That's the separator. And that's also could be a red flag as well. If the guy has all the tools, but he ain't gonna work or not gonna get to his potential, like those tools don't mean anything. When you get to the minor leagues and you get to AA, but those guys who get on to AAA and the big leagues and stay in the big leagues are the guys that have it here and here. So.
And could you?
Real quick, I got a question to build off that. So, like, if let's say you only get to see a guy once, twice, 3 times. Because I know you guys see guys 5, 10, plenty of times. Let's say you don't get to see him as many times as you'd like to. What to piggyback off that? Like, what is something that would make you take a chance on a guy, or make you be able to make the connection to be like, you know what, he does have that growth mindset. He does always stay focused. He's persistent. He's the first guy in, last guy out the gym. What is it, or what have you seen in some guys that's like, okay, I can still take a chance on that guy, even though I didn't get the sample size that I wanted, um, for a
Yeah, the
particular
the
player?
homework we do as scouts is
Respect, respect.
some of it's done on the field. The majority of it is done off the field. Like I'll talk to guys what they work with. Juan, what do you got on this guy? He'll tell me the truth.
Mhm.
I'll talk to their teachers.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk to their mom and dad. Well, I talk to mom and dad, but they're going to tell me what I want to hear.
Respect.
But talking to their trainers, talking to um, people who don't have an actual like connection as far as they're going to gain something from
Right.
this, talk to people like that and seeing what type of person he really is, how the person is made.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because Jackson Merrill was a really good example. Had projection in the body, good player, this and that. But talking to him, this kid's waking up early in the morning, lifting, grinding, eating what he has to do. Had to go to Severna Park
Yep.
to to get where he had to be, and he's worked his way to the big leagues to be one of the best players in the country,
Hmm.
in the world, actually.
Yeah, and I know today we got to see use of a lot of technology, right? I know a lot of the players, I mean, all the time is come up to us, hey, coach, we're gonna see what our exit velo is, and we don't use that where we're at because the players aren't really at that point. I mean, we're kind of getting them right before to where they get to a guy like Juan. Um, how often would you look at these metrics and obviously you could see things. You can see their swing, you can see how the mechanics getting the foot down, control the body, explosiveness, all those things. But have you ever seen a guy and immediately just based off numbers, or is that something you use more to validate a decision?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, there's so much technology out and so many stats and so much data and all of it's great, man. We use it, like you said, to validate, like, yeah, this guy makes consistent hard contact, and now we could show. So we should give him this amount of money because he hits the ball this hard. All those metrics are great measurables, just like a radar gun is, and just like a stopwatch. They're just a different type of measurements, but those are just numbers. You know what I mean? You got to be able to play baseball. That's like the biggest part. You got to be able to play.
Right. Now, you did mention projectability. How often do you look at the parents and are like, man, that kid's going to be 6'5", or you know what, you're 6'1", but your parents are 5'3"? This might be it. Like, does that actually happen?
Every time.
Every time.
The reason we
no,
go
you're,
into
you're not
guys'
wrong,
house.
you're not wrong there.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. I
That's
understand.
how we see the players, right?
yeah.
If I choose to work with a player, it's because I know that when I put in front of the Donovan is gonna see him 150, 160 pounds,
Yeah.
but that kid in 4 months is gonna be 190, and he's gonna be 6'2", he's gonna be 6'3".
Mhm.
If they're gonna stay the same and there is no projection there, then there is no point for to put in front of them because they know that that kid is already at the top and he's not gonna develop more, so he's done.
Mhm.
So
Unless, maybe some speed or something, right? I mean, maybe there's some fast twitch muscles, or maybe he plays basketball, football. Maybe there's that separator. Is
I don't
that
want to speak for them, but
maybe?
for me, development is one of the main keys, and you
Mhm.
need to on this game, you need to keep develop every year, either mentally, physically, or on the game, on the learning the game, right? And if you don't have that projection, then there's no point for that.
Mm.
I mean, I don't want to talk because I'm not a scout. I'm just a
But you've seen
trainer,
it.
but I'm
Yeah.
seeing it enough that I don't know if Donovan agree with me or not, but that's the way that I see it.
No, he's. I mean, you're 100% right. We go and meet, get in these kids' houses, and get to meet with them. I mean, I talk with the kid a little bit, but I'd talk to the parents because that's what he's going to turn out to be when he's, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8 years from now. Not only body types, but the makeup part of it. Like,
Mhm. Mhm.
if the dad is a blue collar hard worker, grinded his way, I mean, it usually gets passed down, and so we look through the whole kind of family. We put it in the big picture, man. I asked them like, "Hey, where'd this ability come from?" A lot of them like, I had a famous uncle, or I had a grandfather, or mom played this, dad did this. So you kind of look at the whole family tree to see what we're gonna project to be, and down the line in the big leagues.
I got a question for you. And this is not my podcast, but
See, man,
what is
we're
the
joining together. You can
yeah?
say it if you want
What
to.
is the because I know that you come and see the guys here and you be the analytic guys or whatever. Do you have a cross checker that comes and validate what you're seeing from these guys? What is the process that a player have to go, after you see them to get on the board to be drafted?
Sure. So prior to the Orioles, I was with the Marlins, and we had a typical draft scouting structure where the area guy finds them, and then he calls his cross checker who does the region. Then he says, "Yeah, you know what? That guy's going to go pretty good." So then, when the cross checker likes him, then the national guy sees him, and then when the national guy sees him and says, "Hey, this guy's going to be a top 10 pick," then he has a scouting director come see him. We're a little different in structure. Okay, we all of us have big areas, and we're all technically area scouts, and we kind of pick and choose the one that we're gonna really target, and then we'll call the other area scouts. Hey, I know you got a shortstop in your area that's similar to mine. Come and take a look and tell me what you think. Do you think he's better than my guy, or are they similar traits? And so we communicate as a group, um, to see each other's better players. And so it makes it more of like, oh, it's not my guy. This is our guys. So that's where we're a little different than most departments. And we're heavy in analytics. You've seen all the guys out there, and they're kind of our cross checkers.
Yeah.
They cross check with the data and the
Mm.
analytics and the stats. So like, hey, I really like this guy. He's got tools. He's got makeup. He's got body and this and that. And they're like, yeah, we like him too. He's got great stats. He's got great metrics. And then boom, that's how we make the best decision with the most information that we could accumulate as possible.
Yeah, I saw that today, and it's. I mean, you guys do the best job out of all. Every time that you got a showcase here, we go and throw the house, from the window. To be honest with you,
That's right.
because
Those,
that.
those.
But I was like with the blast motion. I know the exit below.
Yeah.
But they told me about the rotational,
Yeah.
acceleration and all the things that I never look for that. I never tell my guys, this is what we had to look for. This is what we need to aim for, and this is something that I learned today. That your analytic guys say, "Hey, Juan, when we're using the blast motion, we're looking for this. This is the data that we're looking at. This is the data that we are going forward. To like a guy." So that was amazing to see and to talk to them. And one of the things that I like about this group was, when they finish up eating, they went to each scout that it was here, and they get a lot of feedback from you guys. And I don't know the question that they were, asking you or whatever, but just seeing them being so mature and not afraid of getting to that knowledge, getting to that feedback so they can get better. That's something that I was like, man, this is a really special class.
Great group of kids
Yeah.
to be able to have some, self-awareness to do that. But I think it's the environment too
Yeah.
that you put them in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Coming to a place like this where it's chill, people are kind of walking around, hanging out, and where it's not so like structured and like cookie cutting and this and that. And,
Correct.
it's all how you present the situation. And we create an environment where they felt comfortable to come up to us, which that was the goal,
I was surprised that you brought some of the other scouts from other organizations with the Mariners here
Yeah.
today, and you got the Colorado rookies or whatever. Usually,
So the word's getting out.
I always I have you by myself,
I
and
know.
today you got Kansas City, Mariners, and Colorado rookies. How'd that happen?
They're they because we have big areas,
Yeah.
and I know this area pretty well because of you, and so they're like, hey, I know you always do something with Juan. You got to introduce him, Juan. You got to, and so I was like, yeah, this is usually but they're good guys. You got to take care of your people.
Yeah.
But they owe me, man.
Man, that was no. They. I know that Kansas City is always John is always around or whatever, but I've never met the guy from the Mariners or
The
you know, the
Rockies.
guy for the Rockies, right? And it's good networking. It's good.
Yes.
It's good
No,
feedback. So thank you for doing that. I
yeah.
really appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I thought it was gonna be beneficial for both parties. You know, for them, I was like, you got to meet this dude. You know what I mean? And
Mm.
just because whoever goes through this dude is gonna make some money, and then vice versa too. Like you could have some networking with them as well. So
Now, I did speak with the other scouts before the event tonight, just because I didn't know who was going to join. So thanks again for being out here. This is fantastic. I know the kind of the overall that I got from them was scouting nowadays is coming more from college than from the high school. I mean, a lot of things have changed in the college realm, right? You got the portal, and you got then you have the less amount of drafts picks nowadays. So is that pretty consistent from what you're seeing? And we saw high school guys today, and they were big bodies. I mean, obviously there's going to be a few that make it, but is that more of the trend now? That it seems to be more of a college scouting network than it is more of the high school. And if it is some high school scouting going on, are there certain events that maybe parents and kids should actually target because it makes more sense?
the college, I mean, the college drafts it's the majority of the draft, and it's going to be like that every year. And it's you have more information, it's less of a risk. You know, you have 2-3 years of stats and data, and this guy is a proven hitter at an SEC level, ACC level. We took 2 kids from Virginia last year that are just proven guys. Um, we do take high school guys, and we'd rather take young guys. The younger you get them to the big leagues, the more value you have for them. You know what I mean? And we've taken Jackson Holiday. He got to the big leagues at 21. We've taken Kobe Mayo, high school kid, who got to the big leagues at 22. Gunnar Henderson got there young. I mean, so we do take high school guys, but it's a selective group. You know what I mean? And a lot of high school kids just aren't ready, maturity wise. They
Right.
might be ready talent wise. And then as far as events that we see these high school kids at, if you're invited to East Coast Pro, that's the best kids on the East Coast, and it's ran by scouts, and it's the best event on the East Coast. And area codes, obviously, in Long Beach, where it's the best high school players in the country. They can all meet up there. PG Nationals, another event. But I guess any of these PG events, these bigger ones, is where we go, which is good. You know, it's kind of forced kids to do that. We used to go and watch them play Legion ball, and we used to go stuff like that, which has almost disappeared, which is a shame. But you just have to roll with the times and go where they are. And so yeah, we go everywhere.
That's a good question because the events that the East Coast guys go, you know, they go to the Boulder Battle or whatever. Are you guys going to that? The Border Battle?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because
Oh,
Border
yeah.
Battle, East Cup, you know, Pro, and then the area code and all that. So a lot of parents are like, "Oh, I talked to this scout. I talked to this scout." I mean, we're not guessing here. We're just actually, you know, asking a true scout, an area code scout, that those are the events that they go and see. So
Border
that's
Battles is
good. Yeah.
I forgot that one. That's a great one. That was Jackson Merrill was at Battles, and he was a skinny kid committed to Army,
Yep.
just base knock, base knock, base knock. And we just circled him like, all right, we'll see what it looks like. He comes back over the break and
30
gains
pounds. Yeah.
20, 30 pounds and committed to Kentucky. And so yeah, that's a great event to get recognized as well.
Well, look, Donovan, I'm gonna hold you true to your time. You got your kids' basketball game.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Now, look,
let me squeeze one question in, if I may. I'm so sorry. I'm so
Sure.
sorry. You brought up like character about 2-3 times already. Us being teachers, what would you do with a player? And you might have an answer too. What would you guys do with a player that you talked about is physically ready? Might be 17, 18, 19, but or you're confident he might not be able to take care of himself independently. Do you draft him and take that chance? Do you recommend he go to JUCO for a year? Like, what do you end up doing with a guy that you know physically he could probably still do his job, but personally he might not be able to take care of it?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. That's what we look for is guys who are ready to take care of themselves and are ready to start their career. A lot of kids might, like you said, are physically ready to play in those backfields, but are you mentally ready to start a job?
Mhm.
Okay, and um, with kids that have the ability, we might recommend, hey, you need school or you need JUCO, because we do have draft and follow now, which is hey, we could draft you, go to a junior college for a year. You're still under, we have rights to you, and we're able to sign you prior to the draft next year. But and it's X amount of dollars. I think I want to say it's whatever. But if we don't sign, get a year to get you, and if we don't get you, then you could go back into the draft.
Okay.
And so, but yeah, junior college is a great place to grow and develop as a man.
I appreciate
Yeah.
it. Perfect.
Donovan, thanks, man. I really appreciate you
Yeah.
coming out, man. This is very informative. You got a kid sitting right here that, even that one, you changed his life. So thank you
it.
very much.
Well, I like Rene a lot. So
Yeah.
Rene, I
Yeah.
think that he's gonna get drafted by the Orioles this year.
Yeah.
So Rene, how old are you?
Yeah, thanks a lot, man.
How old do you have to be to get drafted? To be 25 is too old now.
The younger, the better.
Yeah.
High school, I mean, if you're a young high school kid, you got a better chance. And then in college, you have to have, 3 years of eligibility or 21 years old. So
Good.
some guys are 21 years old as sophomores. So,
Well,
but hey, go O's,
Yeah.
and
Thank you.
appreciate you guys, man.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Right?
man.
Donovan,
Drive safe.
Yeah.
Pleasure.
Thank you, like always.